So here we are live on planet Earth, but what does it really mean to be human? Because if you were to ask a general person, perhaps a president, intellectual professor, or any other professional as to what and where is the universe, because we seem to be chasing this dream of materialism or materialistic wealth, where we all seem to seek to belong or to be considered normal when we belong. But what does it mean to be human? And we all know that human beings are imperfect, and perfection, on the other hand, refers to holiness or completeness. And so imperfection, if perfection refers to holiness or completeness or normal, that means imperfection will be referring to that which is evil or abnormal. So in the case of us human beings, what can you expect when you have about 7 billion imperfect or abnormal human beings living within a dimension they cannot fully pronounce and chasing or rushing toward the wrong direction? The average child is sent to school in order to be educated so that they may be a worker, and we all know that work is a form of slavery, and that if we were perfect, in other words, all our consciousness was in full effect, wouldn't we be working or wouldn't need technologies or any of the things in which we work for? So much that one would say that we're wasting so much of our times trying to fit in or to remain human rather than seeking to understand as to what is a human being in order to reverse or change that. Because if we can become that which we all know as God, we'll consider ourselves to be worthy as well as wealthy and alive. But if you live within a virtual reality, how can you say that you are real or anything that you achieve is part of a reality or that you are truly successful? For instance, if we were to measure human lives, we would say that our single lifespan would be compared to one day made up of 24 hours in which we wake up, do our jobs, and then we go back to sleep. And then the following day we wake up to the same reality and we continue for a lifetime. Now suppose I was to change this orientation and say that in a given universe we'll be given 1,000,000,008 million lifetimes, and within those lifetimes you have to retain what you are eternally. In other words, you have to retain your status as God, meaning that regardless of what conditions you'll be born under, you would work it hard within yourself to figure out the truth, and once you do, or share to you with humanity so it will transform them as well as yourself, rather than losing yourself within a virtual reality chasing an illusion in the form of materialism. So we were saying that if we were to have 1,000,008 million incarnations per single or given universe, each one of them made up of 7,000 years, and suppose these were your days, and in each day or in each incarnation you'll be born as a god, so that in the next incarnation you finish where you left. Likewise, as we do whenever we go to sleep and we wake up again and again. And so what this with this I'm trying to explain the fact that the entire universe is a virtual reality upon which we have 1,008 million incarnations within, and with all these incarnations we have to retain that which we already are. And so when one believes that they are wealthy, yet they are talking about a single lifetime within a dimension they cannot fully explain, one is actually living an illusion and is being foolish because they don't even understand what reality is. So if you don't understand who you are, where you are, how can you claim to be wealthy? Because if your wealth has a beginning, then it surely has an end. If you're not born with any of the things that you are having today, then you have developed an ego as well as the foolishness of assuming that you have achieved something rather than being honest with yourself that you have lost your soul as well as your mind. Because to retain your soul is to retain your mind, and to retain your mind is to become God. And for as long as we are human beings, we can only ascribe or seek to become that, but we can never achieve it within a single lifetime. And so with every lifetime is like every day in which we persuade or pursue the same dream. But suppose one would be wealthy within a single lifetime. That would be similar to one having billions or be a billionaire for a single day. And then the next day, they will have absolutely nothing. Because this is what happens with all of us. We incarnate in order to reincarnate. The reason why we are born is because there was prior information long before our birth concerning everything about us, from our character, personality to our looks. And so the idea of our parents meeting and actually giving birth to us was part of the process. Because we have to realize that we live within a virtual reality whereby the information is already there long before the universe is created. So much that this can be likened to a song, which you can play repeatedly, and every song is in a linear form, meaning that it has a beginning and an end, even though the ending is already recorded within the song. But you cannot play the song from a superposition perspective. In other words, you cannot play it entirely simultaneously. You have to start it somewhere. And so this could be likened to our existence within this world, that the so-called future as well as the past simultaneously exist within the same time frame as what you consider a current moment. And so if in another lifetime you were not rich, or there's no possibility of you being rich, then you are being rich in this world, or considering yourself or being considered by others to be rich, is a form of an illusion, because for you to be truly wealthy, you have to possess the powers to retain alive within a particular chosen dimension for as long as you want, so that in the higher worlds we are not born and we don't die in them. We remain in them for as long as we want, and we live whenever we want. That's it. And to me, that's the true definition of power, because if you cannot control your own existence, so that many of the things that we seek to achieve are due to us being able to see as well as hear, and being able to use all our senses. And these senses are a gift for us, because we didn't develop their abilities to work in the same manner that we pride ourselves of our qualifications. But given that you could not see, hear, or use any of your physical senses, you wouldn't be having any of the things that you are having. So that if you were to lose any of your senses, you wouldn't be able to develop them back. Meaning that the best things about you are free and given by God. And everything that you pursued yourself is an illusion designed to test you to see as to whether you would remain loyal to the covenant of being God if the tables were turned, or you will simply rebel and seek to fit in within any other devils that you'll be seeing. And so us being humans, as I've been trying to explain, is an illusion designed to trap and expose some of us as to what would eventually do if we were to create false images of ourselves, or phantom creatures in the form of the different races. Whether we'll like to be one of them, or we'll be loyal to our own nation or our own race and seek the truth of who we are, why we are there, why we're here, and what needs to be done in order to improve our conditions. Because for as long as we think we're educated, if we're unable to help others, that's creating the same conditions for ourselves. Because if one is a billionaire living in South Africa and does nothing to help the poor or the next person, there's 1,000 or 100% possibility that the same person will be born in another African country and will lack everything that they had in the previous lifetime, which could be similar to a previous day. Because such a fool assumed that they were rich, but all their so-called riches were an illusion for a day. And now, being born in another different location, we might even have to blame God rather than awaken our minds to the reality of our existence, that all our lives depend on us being able to subscribe to becoming that which we all know as God, or becoming the devils that we are, because human beings were created out of imperfection, deliberately, by the way. So that would say that the God's minds operate at the speed of light, or above the speeds of light, whereas the human mind operates at only 24 frames of thought per second. This is due to us having only 2 active DNA strands, which is the limit, or the lowest base, because without 2 active DNA strands, we wouldn't even be able to survive. For instance, we have 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, etc. And with only one of these, we would be considered normal or even alive. And so for us to be normal or perfect is for us to regain that which we were and we always are, within and beyond this dimension, long before we're human and this universe was created, and long after. And anything within the universe that fits into the prescription of materialism is an illusion, due to the fact that only consciousness exists. That which we see as matter is an illusion of our own underdeveloped minds. And so our education system, as well as orientation towards materialism, as well as working and all these other things, is a form of deceit. A retaliation from our poverty, which was caused to us by the white man. A new creature who is not older than 6,000 years old, because all human races are less than 6,000 years old in terms of their existence upon this earth. And yet the gods, the Elohim, who preceded human beings and became human by living their divine cultures, lived for about 7,000 years, a single lifetime. And the elders, which are the highest ranking officials, live for about 700,000 years. And this is due to the fact that they possess their own consciousness, unlike us human beings, who are an experimental creation designed to test our intelligence as well as intellect with the little that we have. And so many of us have already sold out to the dream of materialism due to this in understanding or ignorance of self.